This is in response to some Christmas wreaths I had posted on my Facebook page. Now, here's one here. This is one I'm actually going to show the pattern for because it's pretty simple. It's done in crochet. I am not a big crocheter, so you won't see a lot of videos done in crochet, but this is just one of the projects I've done. So for this one, what you're going to need is some sort of ring. I've used these metal rings from Joann Fabrics online. This is a 5-inch one across, and it came to, I believe it was under $1 because it was on clearance. And I believe it's called like almost like a macrame ring for doing that type of thing. But it works great for doing like a wreath around it and crocheting around it. Now, if you're somebody that maybe you can't handle the metal, because I know some people might be allergic or something, then you want to find maybe like a sturdy plastic ring or a wooden ring. Basically, you want a circle that you can work your way around in crochet. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the process on the littler ring. This is a 3-inch in diameter ring. So I'm going to show you what I did using this ring instead of the bigger one. But the process is going to be the same as obviously you do on there. And again, when you're done with it, you can add fun little elements to make it cuter. For example, I'm planning on adding some maybe little pom-poms on there, or maybe miniature ornaments or something, and use it as a decorative gift to give somebody for Christmas. And these work out pretty fast. So the first thing you're going to need is a crochet hook. And the one I'm using is actually a size F, I believe. If you look there, it's a size F. But again, it's your comfort, and the size of the yarn will actually determine it. And we're going to use a little bit of the worsted weight, just simple red heart yarn. I'm going to use yellow, but obviously for a wreath you'd probably use green. Excuse me. And like I said, I'm not a big crocheter, so I'm keeping this very simple. It's done with just a single crochet, which means we're only going to be doing a very basic. First thing we got to do is cover the ring first. And what we do is we grab our yarn and we make our slip knot. And we place it on the crochet hook. And then we can tighten it just a little, not too much. And you're going to have that tail. It's okay to have the tail. We're going to use this to our advantage at the end, which will also help us to hang it and just to know where our starting point was, so you know when you hit back to the beginning. Take your hook, take your crochet and put a hook behind the ring. And what you're going to do is you're going to hold the working yarn in your hands. You got your crochet hook in this one again. It's behind the ring. Come around to the front of the ring. Grab your yarn and bring it up. Now go behind and bring this around. And then take it through both loops. And that is one chain on there. So again, you're holding it. Let me see if I can zoom in a little for you here. Okay, so what we're doing is we're holding our yarn. This is what it looks like from the top. We're going behind it, grabbing it, wrapping it, and then pulling it through both loops. And again, this is what's wrapping this up right here. It's wrapping our ring. So again, down, grab it from the front. See how it's crossed over in the front? Bring it from the back to wrap it. And go around. So you're going to continue this process all the way to get back to the beginning. That's what's good about leaving this tail alone. When you hit back here to the tail, you'll know that you've run around it once. And you can decide how tight you want it. And again, it may move on you and you're just going to go around. Oops. Okay, that one wasn't tight enough. There we go. Down, grab it, bring it up, wrap it, bring it through. Down, grab it, wrap it, bring it through. And now work your way around the ring, doing that all the way through. Okay, we're on our last bit of chains here. And again, as you can see, it's closing it off pretty nicely. And you may just need to turn them so that all the bumps here are facing out. So we're just going to twist it around so it's facing the right way here. And we still have our tail right there. making sure my working yarn is behind the ring, and making sure my tail is out of the way. When you get back to the beginning, you can do just a couple extra because it's really how tight you want it to be around the ring. As you see, it's pretty tight around in there. This next part will be a little trickier because it may be a little tight to work with, but that's okay. After that, it won't be as hard. Okay, I think this is the last chain I should have to do. Okay. And as you can see, it's closed off, and again, it's going to depend on the loom. You keep the ring. You're going to keep your tail there because, like I said, we'll use that later. Now, to the second part, we actually have to work in these bumps, as you see right here. These bumps that are going around, we need to work our crochet hook in those bumps to make additional chains for our pattern to go around to make the first ring around it. So for that, you're going to work your yarn into one of the stitches, and you're going to grab your yarn, wrap it, bring it through, and you have 2 on there. Then you're going to do 3 chains. So we got 1 through, 2 through, 3 through. Oops. My yarn wants to separate. Once you get 3 through, you're going to go find another hole, and it really depends on where you want to put it in through again, to grab your working yarn and bring it through. And again, do 3 more chains. 1, 2, and 3. You see how we're getting a nice little ridge there? So go ahead to the next spot. I mean, there's no set place that I go. I just kind of go next to where I did before. And again, you're just going to do 3 chains. And go next to it again. Grab your working yarn through. As you can see, we've got both on there. Wrap it. Bring it through. 1, 2, 3. Now the whole process of this is all worked on basically a number of 3. So as I'm working around now, I'm doing 3. So I'm going to go off and finish this row, and then I'll come back. When we get back to this tail, we're going to go into the new holes that we created. If you see how there's the little holes, we're going to work in those and do 3 chains just like we just did until we work our way out for the wreath. But I'm going to go ahead and work the rest around. Okay, I'm getting on the last little bit of ones I have to do here of the first ring around. As you see, we're getting closer to the beginning. The tail helps me remember where it is. So just a couple more. Again, bringing it in and then wrapping so we can do 1, 2, 3 loops. Now what you're going to do is you're going to go in this space here for your last one, as close to where you started as you can. You're going to do your 3. 1, 2, 3. But now you're going to start working the second row around, which means you're now going to work in some of the holes you created in the first row that you did. As you can see right here, you got some holes created. So we already did our 3 chains, but now we're going to go into one of the holes we did for that first row and do the same thing of 3. 2, 3. Now again, find the next hole you did as close as you can. Go through, and do 1, 2, 3. So you're just looking when you did the first row where you kind of had some holes, and then you're working your yarn or your crochet hook, sorry, through that loop. Doesn't usually get that tangled, so. And you're doing your 3 chains. It seemed like 3 chains working into each hole seemed to work pretty well for that big design. And like I said, it may depend on the ring or how bulky your yarn is. And again, we're looking for another hole, which we have one right here. So we're going to go in, grab it, bring it back through, and then do our 1, 2, 3. And that's all we're going to do working around. As you can see, it's making it thicker compared to where we ended. So go around again, keep doing that until you get back to your starting point. Remember that your starting string here will kind of let you know when you get back to the beginning. So we're going to finish this row, but I don't need this to be as wide as my Christmas wreath because it's on a smaller ring. So when we get back through with this one, I'll show you how you would take it off. But if you wanted to make it bigger, you would just keep going. And as you can see in the second row, we're creating new loops. And you would just work in those until you got it out as far as you would want your wreath to be. So I'm going to go ahead and work it around until I get back to the beginning, and then I'll show you how to take it off. We are working our way almost to the end of the second row that we're doing. I'm getting ready to do the last couple chains that I need to do to get back to the beginning. The only reason it gets tough sometimes is that this yarn wants to separate, depending on how old the yarn is that you're using, or sometimes it just separates. But again, I'm just going in and finding the holes that we did when we did the first row and kind of deciding which one I want to go in then and bring up the yarn. So again, just go into the hole, grab your yarn from the back, bring it forward, and then bring all that through there. Now, depending on the size of the ring will depend on how far out you want your wreath to go. Because this is only a 3-inch ring, I'm not going to really worry about going around it a third time. I actually like this size. But what you would do is you would do the same process. As we're getting closer to the front, what you would do is you would work your way into the holes that you created during the second row. And again, work your way around the flower in that manner. Or, sorry, flower. It looks like a flower to me. It looks like a sunflower right now. I mean the wreath. But you could make these as little flowers. And what's great about the smaller rings is you could actually make Christmas ornaments instead of using the bigger ones. So you could actually do them almost like personalized little Christmas wreaths if you wanted, and put and almost string letters in between here of the people's names if you wanted to do something like that instead of doing the big wreath. Can't talk today. Alright. Now see, I'm getting close to the beginning because you can kind of see the dip. So if I was going to keep going, I would get as close to that one as I could. And I would do my 3 chains, and then I would work into the new holes that we created in the second row and work my way around to make it bigger. If you wanted to even go bigger, you would just, every time you go around, work in the holes that you created from the row before and do 3 chains. You may decide that you want to do more chains. It's really up to you. This is just what I end up deciding. I liked 3 chains in between. It seemed to work for me. But a lot of it is playing around and seeing what design you like. You may decide that you like maybe increasing the chains as you go or decreasing them, or whichever way works for you. This one is just doing 3 chains in between. I want to show you how you would take this off. Now if you are already done, you had gotten to your last row, what you're going to do is go into here. Well, first you need to snip your yarn, sorry. Snip a tail. And what you're going to do is you're going to bring that yarn through, all the way through. Bring it all the way through the loops. Give it a little tug, and that helps tie it off. What I like to do is I always like to do an extra knot, because that really isn't knotted off, it's just pulled through, so you want to do a little knot and kind of get as close to the project as you can. And then what you can do is you can work it in the project from behind. You can figure out which side, I mean, you might want this side to be the front or that side. It really depends on which side you will consider the front. So whatever you consider the back of the project, go ahead and work it in the project. Just take your crochet hook and almost kind of like whip it around if you want. Like this. Oops, that one didn't want to go through. Come here. Come here. Okay. Really? Doesn't usually give me this much problems. But that's all I would do, is I would kind of work it over, and then I would just re-snip it wherever I needed to do it. And then if you still have a tail, again, you're just going to try to hide it in the project. I'm sorry for the hair that's in there. There we go. But that's all you're going to do, is you want to hide it in the project. Now the reason I keep the tail is because what I can do later is I can do an I-cord, or I can just do a simple little knitted ribbon or whatever, and you could tie it to this, and then it can help become a way to hang it. But again, I like it because it lets me know where the beginning is. But this is just a simple wreath. Like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect. I don't think any two wreaths are perfect. But again, you can keep working your way out if you want it bigger. As you notice, maybe I didn't always go in the exact one, but it looks really cool. And it's a very simple, easy project. The big green wreaths, there's a lot of times I worked one of those up, probably within just an evening. You know, it didn't really take that long to work them up. And again, it's just a simple crochet 1 chain basically, or 3 chains. And it's about all I know how to do in crochet right now. So I thought there was an interest, so I wanted to share. And I hope this helps, and happy making wreaths this winter.